right, you guys ready? Zach Bass, I was just introduced. Thank you for the introduction. I do have 3 kids. Now they are 14, 11, and 8, and they do keep me busy. But what also keeps me busy is the airport, so let's talk about it. I did go through last year's Kiwanis briefing, and I took out some stuff I've already talked about. I've added some things that are new. First off, I want to talk about how, yes, this is a Redmond Kiwanis, yes, this is a Redmond airport, but only about 14% of our passengers are from Redmond. 80-some% of our passengers come out of Bend and Sun River, Sisters. There's a huge catchment area. So really this is the community's airport. And I say that because what I'm going to do is when I walk and talk to the airport or the airlines, I talk about the region. So sometimes we don't understand what's really going on with the region, and so at a very high level, I'm going to show you what it looks like right now with the region. As you know where we're at, right? Airlines usually don't. We all know why we're in Central Oregon: outdoor adventure, lifestyle. Got a lot of golf. We're on a golf course. But here are some reasons why people come here: to live and to play. When I meet with the airline network planners, they're usually young, and they're usually out of the East Coast. Most of them have never even been to Oregon. So to try to explain what Central Oregon is, this is how we do it. Live events have been a big player lately. Now, it's not just pretty pictures. This is our TRT from the whole region, transient room tax. You can see a massive jump during COVID, but those individuals that came during COVID, guess what? They keep coming, even after COVID. So what we find when we start talking tourism is that once you come here, you usually come back. And a lot of times when we work with EDCO and READY in the economic development, a lot of times people visit with their families over and over and over, and eventually they say, guess what, I'm moving here and I'm bringing my business. I don't know if anybody's been in that situation in this room. A lot of rooms I go to, that's exactly why they're here. So we've seen a huge growth in tourism. Now when we start talking about what's going on in the Central Region area as a whole, it's about 280,000 people. Here's our population growth, guys. This is a 10-year period. Deschutes and Crook County, and this is just to 2024, but Deschutes and Crook County, 26% growth, 30% growth in population over a 10-year period. Compare that to other counties in Oregon, or Oregon itself at 8%, the US at 6%. 50% of everybody that's moved to Oregon in the last 10 years has moved to Central Oregon. So we're seeing a massive growth. It's not just me that talks about this. If you go out there, you Google Bend, you Google Central Oregon, there is a lot of accolades out there, puts us on the top 1 through 10 of all kinds of different lists. So this is kind of what I talk about, and there's a lot more slides that are involved in that, but I wanted to hit it high level. A lot of growth in the region, a lot of people coming here, it's a great lifestyle, and I have to tell these individuals what that means. Now, when we kind of start looking at what air service means, follows the same kind of trend. 2 decades of growth. 260% growth in passengers since 2005. We keep seeing upward trends, and I won't go into all the basics on this, but really this upward trend that keeps going up, especially when you look at seats, that's just an increase in how many seats are in the market. When we judge an aircraft, we judge by 1, how many seats are in the market, and 2, load factors, how full are those seats. Those are kind of the 2 ways that we look at, are we being successful, are we growing our market, right? You want a lot of seats, but guess what? You want to make sure they're full, otherwise they pull that service. So here's one thing that I also bring up when I'm at the airlines, because a lot of people don't understand our size for our MSA, which is the Bend Redmond MSA, compared to some other maybe more well-known cities. We're larger than Bozeman, Big Sky. Larger than Rapid City, Kalispell, Eagle, Vail. When you compare both of our cities together, putting us at right around, the MSA is about 200,000. We also look at visitation comparison. We, except for Bozeman beating us annually, we are higher than all of these other destination cities in the country. And then the red is the annual. The other color that's kind of hard to see is the summer. But we beat out all of these cities in the summer for visitation, for tourism. 4.2 million overnight visitors last year.
Wow.
Our catchment area, as I mentioned, guess what? You guys might not like driving over the mountains. I don't, but it's very helpful for air traffic. Especially in the winter, our retention rate is great because people are very rarely flying or driving to Portland to fly out nowadays. And when we actually look at what those stats look like, if you're in that blue catchment area, 86% of the time, you're flying out of Redmond. Only 14% or so, or 13% of the time are you driving to PDX, and only 1% are you going to Eugene, and that's probably because of Southwest, which we're working on, which I can talk to. Last year, for 2025, out of Redmond, going international, leaving Redmond and going somewhere international, more than 100,000 people did that. My next question to you guys is, who's traveled the farthest from Central Oregon in the last year, since last August or July? Where'd you go?
I'm just throwing a barometer out here. Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, okay.
Seychelles.
What was it?
Seychelles.
Seychelles in France? Wait, is that France, right?
Indian Ocean.
Indian.
Off Africa.
Anybody can beat that? All right, so you flew, I know.
Yes.
Here you go.
I did. Out of Redmond.
There you go. Next time you go to Africa, please. So we have a lot of international that come out of here. And one way we know that is because we actually can, it's kind of Big Brother-ish, but if you leave here and you fly to Portland, and from Portland you go to Japan, right? We know that your end destination is Japan, right? We don't know your name. We don't know all this, but we know where our passengers end up. And so what we do is we collect that information to where we say, hey, we know every day, and I don't think this slide is on here. I can check. I don't think I did, nope. So from that information, let's say, instead of Japan, let's say you go to Chicago. Seattle to Chicago. Every day, on average, about 80 people go from here to Chicago every day, which seems kind of crazy. But they're ending up in Chicago. So when I go and talk to the airline about a new route, I have the data to show them, here's how many people are already going there. Why don't you put a direct into Chicago? And you'll probably at least take 30, 40% of that. And then once you kind of activate the market, it'll grow that destination. So that's one way that we talk with the airlines on proving or trying to prove, hey, this is a good new route that you should put in for. And there's a lot of stuff that goes with air service. Happy to answer this. I have a whole another slide deck on that. But I'll leave that for air service for now. We have, right now, I think, well, this just shows our enplanements over the last 10 years or so. This year, we're right here, 650,000 for 2025. We're actually looking to hit closer to 700,000, which means 1.4 million total passengers. And you can see the projected growth up to 2036. So in about 10 years, we should be putting about 2 million people through the airport. This year, we'll put 1.4 million through. Yes?
What are our numbers compared to Eugene?
Good question. We are number 3 behind Eugene. Eugene sits about, so this year we sit about 650,000. Eugene sits at about 750,000.
How does it look like we'll track to surpass them?
About 6 years ago, we actually almost were neck and neck with Eugene. And they got Southwest. And then COVID hit and Alaska moved all their stuff to Seattle, so they weren't really having as much drive from Eugene to Portland. I know I'm going into a lot of this, but me and Eugene, yeah, they're in a race they don't know about. But I'm losing that race, so I've quit talking about it as much. But so with Southwest and then Portland not being as big of a hub during COVID, they've actually grown quite a bit, a little more than we have, truthfully, over the last 4 years. But we get Southwest in, I think that'll put us up close to their numbers. We used to be actually the same size or smaller than Medford, and now we're quite a bit, 30% bigger than Medford.
So it goes PDX, Eugene, and then Redmond?
Correct. Commercial.
And does Eugene serve a substantially larger population than us, or is it about the same?
They do. They have 390,000, I think, that they can include in their catchment area. But with them, it abuts Portland. So when our retention rate is 86%, theirs is like 54%. So they lose a lot of people to Portland because it's such an easier drive, right? Again, thanks for the mountains, right? It's a little harder to get up there, especially in the winter. It's a good question, though. So these are all the air service slides I have. I know there's usually a lot of questions, so I want to add small group. So what questions do you have on air service?
So do you have to go after the new airlines, or do they come to you? Or both?
We go after them. Okay. Yep. To begin with. So This year I'll travel to 13 different times. About half of those are meeting with the airlines. I think I've talked about this before if you've heard me talk, but there's one, we go to their headquarters and we have an hour-long conversation in Atlanta or Chicago or Dallas. But we have these other conferences that are called like Jumpstart or Takeoff, where it's speed dating, literally. So you two would be American. I would walk up with my consultant and all of our information and our numbers, and we would have a big clock on the wall that says 20 minutes, and I would pitch basically Central Oregon and our airport to you, right? And then the 20-minute timer would go off, and then I'd walk over here to American or Delta or United.
Like speed dating.
It's exactly speed dating. I mean, it feels like it. You walk into this giant room, and there's, 100 different tables full of different airlines. So that's one way we do it, but yeah. Well, yes, sir.
Is there 2 or 3 names that you could throw out of airlines that are not here that we're trying to
Yeah, Southwest is a big one. I've been down to their headquarters. They've invited us to their headquarters the last 3 years in a row down in Dallas. So we went down and we talked to them. We were at the top of their list for growth. They are probably waiting until the terminal's done, until they do so. And again, the problem with a lot of people are like, well, why don't we have Chicago? Why don't we have this? Why don't we have that? Why don't we have Boise? We can talk about hub and spoke, but there's a lot of it that we have no control over. We could show up with $2 million of revenue guarantee. We could show up with all the best numbers in the world. We could show up with every business in the region supporting us with letters, and they would go, well, we're not growing in Denver this year or the next 2 years. So no, we're growing in Florida, right? Or, hey, we don't have the pilots. Boeing's behind on delivery. We don't got the planes. So sometimes we walk in and it's beyond our control completely, but we still build these relationships. We keep showing this to them, and it's not a quick, easy thing, but usually sometimes over years they go, it's in the back of their mind, Redmond, Redmond, Redmond. We're showing them the numbers, and then eventually we get them hopefully to bite. And then what you got to do is you got to have people fly. If people don't fly, you're not getting bigger planes, more destinations, more frequencies. It's a business. So the backside of that is please fly. Yes?
How about Houston?
Houston, Dallas, we tried Dallas for 2 summers and they pulled. American pulled out. It wasn't because of the numbers, it was because, again, like I mentioned, beyond our control, they pulled out of all of the Northwest to Dallas flights with us on not knowing why.
Is American still flying out of Redmond?
They do fly out of Redmond to Phoenix 3 times daily, but no Dallas. They did that for a summer. They pulled out of Eugene, they pulled out of Pasco, they pulled out of Spokane, or maybe not Spokane, but
What cities are your top targets?
Minneapolis, Chicago, and Dallas. Also, I would love to, what they call the Inland Empire down in LA. I'd like some more opportunities. We have Burbank and LA right now, but it'd be nice to have like John Wayne, Ontario. Also, San Francisco, we only have San Francisco. It'd be nice to get Oakland, San Jose. So it's probably the top ones.
Do you see the amount of pilots coming in to keep up with that growth?
I think it's looking better now. And if you didn't know, we have a flight school, 250 students. 190 of those are Alaskan airline pilots. That's their new school for Alaska Airlines. It's based out of Redmond. So, yeah.
How much of an incentive is the terminal expansion for these larger players to maybe open up those direct routes?
I think it helps. I mean, people ask this question all the time. It's not if you build it, they will come. It's if you don't build it, they can't come. So there's nothing that's like, we're building it because we want Southwest. But if we don't build it, then we really can't offer Southwest even a gate, right? So I can't say, yes, we're going to have 3 new airlines when this thing opens. But what I can say is I know we would not ever get 3 more airlines if we didn't build something.
Some of these less expensive lines, like Valero is here.
Low-cost carriers. Yep.
They come and go. Are we looking at getting any more of that kind of trade?
We have Breeze right now running twice weekly to Vegas. That's our only what we would consider a low-cost carrier. Allegiant, Avelo have come in. Sun Country was in. For differing reasons, didn't work out. Avelo went bankrupt. Allegiant came in over on top of Sun Country and then pulled out themselves. Yes, we're looking for, if anybody wants to come fly in here, we'll let them. I'll make room somehow. But right now, we're always talking to those individuals, but I don't have anything on the horizon.
Yeah. Did Allegiant pull out because we weren't getting enough travelers, or was it something else?
Legion is interesting to work with. Yeah, I mean, the load factors look good. So it didn't seem like it was a problem with people traveling. They had a lot of excuses on we weren't bundling their hotels and flights like they like. There's all kinds of stuff that was involved with that. But and then they pulled out right after COVID again.
That Mesa flight was awesome.
Yeah, I know. I flew it a few times myself. Southwest would be nice to get into down there too.
They do Mesa?
They do Phoenix, but I think they do Mesa too. I'm not sure. That might be more. I have to look, but they do something around there. Yeah.
In addition to attracting passengers to fly out of the airport, is the airport doing anything to bring businesses to the airport kind of an area that support air traffic?
Yes.
I mean, yes. Like general aviation airport, like general aviation traffic. We actually have a lot of aviation-based businesses at our airport. There's even a composite manufacturer. There's a lot of people that own 4 or 5 hangars that are actually doing specialized work on private aircraft. I like general aviation. We have a lot of general aviation in the area. So let me give you an example of this. Last week, busy week, right? All can probably attest, fires, the tankers coming out from we actually had to put a notice to airmen out that we actually restricted GA flying, flight school flying, because it got too busy. Now that was, we could still do medical, life flight, firefighting, and commercial. So that actually happens quite a bit more often now. So I wouldn't say that I'm super excited to get a lot more GA at our airport, general aviation, private aircraft. But we have Madras, Bend, Prineville, Sun River, they all have airports, and they have a lot of focus on GA. Bend, Oregon's airport just got a new tower. They are busier than us by landings and takeoffs. So they are number 3 in the state. Portland, Hillsboro, Bend, Troutdale, us, for landings and takeoffs. Right, so between us and Bend, 11 miles apart, we're busier than PDX, based on landings and takeoffs. There's over 500 flight students in this area. We're one of the biggest regions for flight students in the whole Northwest. Didn't know if that answered your question. Yes, we can't turn anybody down. We're NIPIUS, so it's a national, we can't turn people down from landing or taking off at our airport because we take federal money. But does it make sense for these individuals sometimes to build hangars on smaller airports nearby? It usually does. It's cheaper. But if you got a big G4, $20 million jet, you're usually flying into us because that's where the gates, tower, operations, 24-hour fire. That was a lot of answer for that question, but yes.
We've had several folks come in and talk to us about economic growth in our area. And one of the things they keep coming back to is the lack of hotel rooms.
Yep.
How many do we need?
That's a good question. We are right now, should be building a new hotel on our property soon.
Who is?
I can't talk too much about it, but I got a meeting after this actually with their attorneys. But there's a lease signed, and hopefully within the next few months, you'll see ground being moved near the fairgrounds for a new airport.
Between the fairgrounds and the new terminal?
No, it's kind of by that sign that sits at the fairgrounds. It's airport property. So there's an example of us developing airport property. 1/4 of all the land inside of Redmond is owned by the airport. It's airport managed. City owns us. Airport managed means that you also fall underneath the FAA requirements. So it's kind of like having it's like having divorced parents. I don't know if you guys have heard me say this before. Divorced parents. I didn't put those slides in here because I saw that I did that last time. But we have, especially with 9th Street opening, that's all airport property on both sides. And Kalama, that kind of cut through now that goes over to the old, that's all airport property. So we have a plan and we're working on how do we develop all of that for all kinds of development. And that money flows back into the airport, and then we use it for aviation purposes.
Have there been any technological or logistical improvements to kind of help with inclement weather situations that arrives in the fall and spring?
Yeah, I mean, we're working on kind of a radar-ish system that we'll be putting up in the tower soon. That helps. No, we're not changing like our instrument landing systems or anything like that. We really don't see that many issues during inclement weather except for freezing fog is our biggest issue.
This is kind of off topic, but
I love it.
if there were a Cascadian event, earthquake, is the airport landing strip pretty well prepared to still be in function?
Yeah, we are the critical asset
Right.
for the state, I think. Especially when you put the new Core 3 that's going in, you put us, you put the fairgrounds. That whole little group of entities will actually be one of the major players after Cascadia.
So it won't be all crumpled up.
Shouldn't be. We have 900 feet or so of bedrock right underneath us.
Thanks.
How about wildfire management? Is there a component to add more of that here?
So that's a forest. So the Forest Service is owned by federal. There are north side, 40 acres. They do all the retardants. There's a firefighting base. There's all kinds of stuff up there. If you ever get a chance to tour, that's a cool tour, including where they hang up their, they parachutes and everything. Anyway, so they have plans on small amounts of growth, but like we're not building anything specifically for them right now. But they just pumped 2 million gallons of retardant in the last 10 days, which was equal to all we pumped the whole last summer. So they are busy. Okay, let's run through some other cool stuff. I know I have some time here. Great questions, by the way. And so it's awesome terminal stuff is what's coming up. Get you excited. So we're going to start this with the video, which you might have seen. Might have to push the play button. So this is the new terminal. So this is all new. That's what's going up right now. It will include 7 jet bridges. As you come through TSA, there'll be some changes made here, but as you move forward, it'll take you up the escalators and stairs to the brand new second floor concourse, which is the main portion of this build out. Our 5th gate will be upstairs where there's currently, we're going to add a 5th gate. You're going to come across this bridge, terrazzo flooring. This is the Deschutes River outline. Restrooms. The seats themselves, right now we have about 230 seats in the whole airport. We're adding 700 to give you an idea. Our current hold room where you wait, including the upstairs portion, is 7,000 square feet. This is 65,000 square feet. Give you an idea of the growth there. And it looks like it has paused. So I've got some other stuff to show you, but see if that just didn't load right. Okay, well that might not work. Yeah.
In the past, we've had to wait on our plane because there wasn't a place for it to park. So is that expansion to mitigate that only, or is that expansion also for more flights, to accommodate more flights?
Yeah, so we're not adding any more per se ramp space. And usually if you're waiting, it's not because there's not a spot. It's usually because there's not a crew to man you to get into that spot. In the morning, all 11 of our aircraft spots are full and they take off. We're adding some more remain overnight spots. We're not changing how many gates we have. But what the jet bridges allow you to do is turn a lot quicker. Right? Exit, clean, enter, gone. So the turn time is about 50% less when you have jet bridges. So that gives us a lot of efficiency. Yeah. $880 million on time, on budget, opening next November 27. Now let's talk about what's going to go inside of it. First, our concessions. Has everybody read about what's going on with concessions? Nobody's seen anything? You guys don't know about what's coming into the airport? Oh, awesome. Usually people have seen it in the media. Okay, so first off, we did this took a year. We did a huge market analysis where we looked at, in the blue, people go through TSA versus when people depart. So that dwell time is super short. You guys all know this. How quick can I get to the airport? 45 minutes so I can get on a plane, right? Like, you're not there to hang out, maybe as you are, maybe in a big airport where you're giving yourself 2.5 hours, right? So we know that. We know that dwell time is short. So we also know that when you guys are downstairs and you walk in the morning and you want a cup of coffee and there's 12 people in line, usually you go, I'm leaving in 30 minutes, I'll get my coffee in San Francisco or Seattle. How many people have done that? I know I have. Right, I shouldn't, but I know that. So what we're looking for is we want speed and efficiency. So downstairs we have this little coffee shop, what I just spoke to. That's part of the food and beverage. Upstairs is a brand new 4,500 square foot, what we're going to call food hall. This is all glass. It's going to be very cool, very good views. So what's going to go in there? This has already been awarded. Downstairs is going to be a Pete's Coffee. Okay, out of San Francisco, but the rest of our concessionaires are local. So what is this local group? Sparrow Bakery will be in there with a full menu. Anybody want to know what percentage of the gross receipts we take from these guys at the airport? Like what are they giving us for they can rent every time they sell something? You want to know the percentage or a guess? What? 15% is what it is right now. So every time you buy a roll, and we're going to not let them price it too high, guys. It's street pricing plus 10%. So it's got to be a little higher because it's a lot harder to work within an airport through security. Everything that you buy at an airport has to come through some sort of secure process that takes time and personnel, and that's where that cost usually comes from airports. But we're going to say, hey, street pricing 10%, only above. So if you buy your roll there, get a great roll. We also get some money to help support the airport. Second, Sister's Coffee will be there. And third is going to be our big food provider, Ben Brewing Company. And what this is going to look like, let me kind of go back, I should have put these in a different order. So when you come into that Sister's Coffee, Sparrow Bakery, you'll have a quick grab and go from Ben Brewing Company, like if you just want a burger, or if you want to sit down along the bar, all the windows that are overlooking the mountains.
Is this before or after TSA?
After.
So, yeah, goes through TSA.
It's hard to do anything before TSA.
Yeah.
But I will say we're not done with there's another retail piece, right, where we're going to have a whole nother area upstairs that's going to be retail for gifts, travel essentials, right, about 2,000 square feet. So that's going to be pretty nice. I don't have that done yet per the RFP. Also, though, pre-security there, if this one group wins, which they might, I don't know yet, but they'll have a coffee option too downstairs, pre-security. So you'll be able to get coffee and a little bite to eat. But we're not expanding that. So, yeah, there you go. That's our food, which, yeah, all right. Pretty exciting. I'm excited to eat there. Like, yes, I got some food I can get in the airport. I mean, upstairs isn't bad now, but there's not a lot of options. So the next cool thing is let's talk about art. Anybody seen anything about art? A few? Okay. Did I mention, this wasn't last time, did I? I mentioned, no, you probably saw it in the paper. So we have 6 art locations. This took a year too. A few of these are already in place. So this big wall, when you're kind of going out to that first, there's a huge wall there. It used to have some people's faces that were advertised. It's a giant wall. 2 and 3 are kind of along this curve. In the middle, 4 is going to be the new escalators. Upstairs, 5 and 6 are both new. We went out to a process. It's kind of hard to read, but 316 proposals we received for those 6 locations. From 181 artists across 32 states, 40% of those proposals were from Oregon artists. 66 of those, 66 Oregon artists from 12 different cities, and that included 29 artists, or 9% of all of them from Central Oregon itself. So we got a really good showing. The first one, that big wall, it's kind of hard to see. This is actually rope lacework that's up on that giant wall, which is, twice the size of this wall. And that is Smith Rock, as you could probably tell. Also, the rope, she's a master lattice maker from Slovenia, where she was born, but she now lives over in the States. But the cool thing about this, though, is she's inside there are all the highest climbed routes. And she's actually using used ropes, colored ropes from those routes in the actual piece from Smith Rock. So again, it's hard to see, but you'll see some colored stuff in there that show the routes. Okay, so the second one. Now she's doing, we have a really big, as you remember, right? You come up the walkway, there's that giant wall as you kind of come around the walkway here, the ramp. It's not going to look exactly like this, but it's going to be more abstract because it's such a long space. But the cool thing about her is all of these colors are actually made from local plants, rocks, bones. So she actually goes out with a group from High Desert Museum that's actually certified to go out and make pigment from local items. And so that's how she creates the pigment to do this painting. All right, number 3. Yeah, if you guys know Skip. But I'm just going to point this out that right now, this story pole is going to either sit here or it might even wrap this main pole that's there. But Skip is a sister's artist of 50 years. I don't know if you guys have ever met Skip. Interesting guy. But he has Skip Armstrong. Yep. And so he's going to do a story pole, 8 feet wide, 22 feet tall, all chainsaw. And if you've ever been to like Black Butte Ranch, that big door, that's him. There's all kinds of stuff. He's done stuff for Vegas. I mean, the guy's done a lot of cool stuff. But it's going to be basically a giant pole, all kind of the feel of wildlife. And then on the backside, which we're working with the Warm Springs tribe and the Federation, is they're going to do like the myth of their people on the backside is kind of a cool indigenous look. All right. And also we have a few of these pieces at the airport too, those little wooden pieces you see as you kind of walk down, the animals, just to get a feel of what he can do. All right, so this guy's local. He actually graduated from RPA a few years ago. He is doing Up the Escalator. And it's a little more abstract. We're kind of moving from, we've got local pigment, we've got rope, we've got wood. Now we're kind of going up the stairs into more of a contemporary look, but it's the outline, it's kind of the look at Central Oregon in a more playful manner. And then once you get to the top of the wall, this is kind of hard to tell, but there's a huge wall that's going to be here. And so this is actually...
That deer looked like a whitetail.
A whitetail? Was it? Got a hunter in the room.
No one would know.
I don't know why that's not working. I don't know. It's a good question. We'll bring that up with them. We also wanted to see a rock chuck in there too. So what up here is actually, this is all metal, and it's actually layered metal to show topography. And it's all burnished a certain way to give it won't look like this specifically, but we haven't even given him what we want the topography to be. But he'll create this topography that stands out. And what we're also going to be asking him to do is, see this backlit water? That'll be included in there. So we might look at like the reservoir or some lakes, have the topography, we'll pull it up on a screen. We're trying to figure out what we want him to do right now. But it'll be this kind of cool, more metal feel to it than what you saw at the bottom. And then last but not least, these are tiles. Won't look like this specifically, but these are tiles that are hand painted and then fired. And they're going to be up near the restrooms, our new restrooms. And just to kind of give you an idea of, this is actually kind of more of the look. It's the Metolius, but it's kind of got like a Japanese kind of paint feel to it, or artistry to it. And so she does some really cool stuff throughout the state and country. But that will be what's kind of near the restrooms. Water, just so you know you're near a restroom. Yeah?
So are we going to have to fly out of Redmond to see all the art, or is there going to be an opportunity? Okay.
Yeah, hey, you gotta...
Come in and have a...
No, you're gonna have to fly. We are gonna look at, in the future, what do we do on the front side, right? Because we're not touching a lot of pre-security stuff during this project. So we actually have put together a really large selection team that did this, 9 people, over 750 hours to go through these 316 proposals. We're hoping we can keep that group kind of together to help us out for a long-term art program with the airport. But we'll see how that looks. So you might be able to see some in the future, but right now there's some art out there, but it's not. None of these will be pre-security.
Dry Canyon Art Association has a program called Lend Me Your Walls.
Yep, and
So all
they're,
you have to do is contact them, they can put something up for a while.
they're on our selection committee. I got one of their members, and also we got the Redmond Commission of Arts and Public Places. We've got the curator at the Warm Springs Museum and the High Desert Museum. Really cool group. There's some other ones too, but. Okay, so I know I've talked for like 30 minutes. Cool stuff going on.
How much does it cost to go to Portland?
Depends.
Like
Right now, kind of depends on what we're doing in Iran currently, but yeah, usually when I go, it's like $150 round trip. But right now, it's probably a little more. Depends on when you book it too,
Yeah,
how long out.
airline do you do when you?
When I go to Portland, Alaska's due, the only one that's going to Portland right now is Alaska.
Okay.
But they're doing 4 to 5 daily trips this summer.
Can you do a walk-in flight?
What?
Can you do a walk-in flight on those?
I think they're required to sell you a ticket if you use cash. There's only it's hard nowadays. So but they're required legally to actually do that, but I don't know, you might have to check. There might be times on when it's allowed. Yeah, it's hard to do that. Yeah.
Say you got a 5:15 a.m. flight,
Yes.
and you want to get there, 3:30,
Yeah.
go through TSA. Will food service be available then?
Right now, not right now. So we've updated our contract too. So we've grown up a lot in the last 10 or 12 years when it comes to a lot of our processes and contracts, et cetera, and leases. Yes, in the future, you would be open 1 hour prior to first flight. Now it's not. 5:15, I get there at 4, is usually when I get there at 5:15 flight. But if you start looking at that 6, 7, ooh, it can get busy. So
Even if you've
Or
already
you want
checked
time
in?
for breakfast?
if you've already checked in, you're probably a little better off. I give myself an hour and a half, but I always tell people 2 hours. So that's officially what I'm telling you is 2 hours. Because I've told people before, yeah, you're good with an hour, then they miss their flight and they are pissed at me. I'm like,
But TSA doesn't open until 40.
TSA opens at, depends. God, I don't know. The last time, I think it's 3:30. But I think so, but I don't know. It's a good question. I usually don't.
It seems like most of you have to be there like 15 minutes ahead of time if you're checking a bag.
Yes, our internal motto is quick, fast, friendly, and clean. So yes, most of the time you're talking 20 minutes to check a bag and get through. But then I've seen it, guys. Those mornings, or sometimes in the middle of the day, something occurs, and a lot of people miss their flights then because they're so used to being early.
Running again.
So yeah.
How many people work at the airport, and do you expect any expansion in employment as a result of the development out there?
Good question. So at the terminal itself, there's about 500 people that work there. A lot of them are part-time. Only for the city, only about 60 people work like for me in the city, but the other 450 work for the other groups, right? Car rentals, airlines, baggage handling, all that kind of stuff, right? If you talk about the whole airport property, that's closer to 2,000 people, including the Forest Service. What was the second part of that question? Yes, expansion. So we did an economic financial study from the state on what this looks like. It is a $37 million annual increase, and what this expansion will put into the region, $37 million annually, and this is after construction. We're not talking about construction people right now. There's 160 people working out there for construction, but it also will provide 207 new jobs, long term. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Anything else for me? I mean, I got a few more minutes, but all right.
Head over to the middle, you gotta get a pen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, a pen. Yes, I love these
And if
pens.
you covered it, I didn't hear, when is the completion date?
Yeah, first passenger November 2027.
Oh, nice.
So I know it already looks like it's up, and you're like, why is it going to take so long? But it takes a lot longer than I know. I've asked the same question.
I'm
but-
sure.
Better than the recreation center. All right.